Hey fellow rebels, welcome back to our channel. Thank you so much for watching. Today's video is a little bit different than our normal videos. This is my dad's classic car, and he has a very unique story about this car that I want to share with y'all today. So as I said, this classic car is my dad's old car, and it does have a very unique story, and I want to share that with y'all today. So I'm going to ask him some questions and have him answer me. But first of all, I think it's pertinent to the story to let you know that he was born and raised in Jeffersonville, Indiana, which is just north of Louisville, Kentucky, right? Yeah. So he was born and raised there, and then what brought you here to Arkansas?
United States Air Force.
The Air Force, okay. So he was born and raised in Indiana, and then now he's here. But now, this was not your very first car you ever had.
No, I had another car. I did have a 49 Buick.
49 Buick, but this is the first car you ever actually bought and paid for.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And who did you buy the car from?
Some car lot in downtown Louisville, Kentucky.
And do you know what you paid for the car?
No, I do not.
You don't remember what you paid for it?
No.
Okay. And so you bought it in 1959?
59.
And you had the car for how long?
Since 1959. The original title's still in my name.
Well, yeah, but you eventually sold the car.
Oh, yeah. I kept the car. I sold the car to somebody in 1960. It's probably late 65 or 66.
Yeah.
But I went in the Air Force in May of 66.
Okay, so you had the car from 59 until you sold it in 66.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's why you sold it, was because you the Air Force.
Air Force. Yeah.
And do you remember who you sold it to?
It may have been Charlie. We wasn't sure about that. It went through about 3 owners.
Your friend Charlie is who you're talking about.
Charlie, Charlie.
But it went through 3 owners.
I think it went through 3 people, and nobody ever did anything with it. It just
sat
like
there.
It was, sat there, yeah.
Okay. And then, so now you're probably wondering at this point, how in the world did the car, when he sold it in Jeffersonville, Indiana, end up here, back in Arkansas again with him? So now this is the unique story. So we already realized that he sold the car, and then it's been through 3 owners. So tell us, how did you actually end up with the car again?
Well, again, like I said, the car didn't have an engine in it, transmission. At that time, it did have an open driver rear end under it. Some car people know what that means. And anyways, the car was wherever I sold it to. Took it to their place, I guess, and it didn't have an engine in it. They didn't do anything with it. It just stayed like it was. And they decided they wasn't going to do anything with it, and they went to another owner. And eventually, the 3rd owner was there in Georgetown, Indiana, and he got the car. And he built a metal shop kind of like this in his yard, bigger than this was. And this car got pushed back in the corner of it, and it sat there for 35 years. And he didn't do anything with it either. And that my friend Charlie, he said that I could probably get the car back if I wanted. That's after I built this building here, and I had a place to work on something then.
Yeah.
So I talked to him, this Morris, about the car, and we made a deal, and he said he'd sell it to me for $1,000, and I told him, okay, I'll give you $1,000 for it. And I went up there with my truck, and me and my brother-in-law went up there and loaded it up and hauled it back here.
On the trailer?
I got some pictures here of it somewhere, hauling it back in a rest area somewhere in Kentucky. I don't know where it was at, but there's some pictures of it. I think she's got them someplace.
And then, so now, whenever you got the car back and you saw the title and the registration.
Well, the title, let me a little story about the title.
Yeah.
Charlie kept that title.
Your friend
It was
Charlie?
never signed.
Okay.
It was never leased to anybody else. It never turned over to anybody. Nobody ever signed for it or anything. And he kept that title. And he said, anybody that finishes a car will get the title back plus all this chrome that I'd already bought. And nobody ever did anything with the car. So I got it back here. And, oh no, with the title. Okay, the title again. when I was up there, I went to the Indiana Revenue Department there, and I'd made a photocopy of the title, the old title, still the original title. Made a photocopy of it, and asked them, "Can I get a title for this car?" And
But it still had your name on it.
yeah, still had my name.
Nobody had ever changed the title. It was still in your name.
Still my name, and I still got the title today,
Yeah.
just like that. But anyways, I asked them. I said, "Can you get me a new title for this car?" And they looked at that. Anyways, they went over their computers and they spent 10, 15 minutes there, and they had about 2, 3 people working on it. And I know there were probably people digging in the basement trying to find old stuff.
Microfiche or something.
Yeah. So, anyways, they come back and said, "Well, they can't find the title. They didn't know where it had been.
course.
Thought of it done, got gone,
Lost or something.
Lost or something." So anyway, she said, "I can make you a new title, but I got to have 2 identification. I had driver's license, but she said I need a Social Security number." I said, "Well, I don't care my Social Security number." She said, "We'll go down there, stay there 2 exits, and go to the Social Security office down there, and they'll make you one. They'll give you a paper for that." So I went down there, and they gave me the information. They made me a thing, and I took it back up there and gave them to the lady, and they went on back there and they did their little thing back there with all their computers, and got me a new title and said they're going to mail it to me in a few weeks when they get it all put up. And they asked me, I think they charged me $5 for it. I thought, boy, I did good. Got all the people working for $5. Anyways, so I got the original title, still got it. When I got it back here and they put it back in the shop here that day, I started looking around in it, pulled the sun visor down, and the license registration was still in the sun visor.
It'd been sitting there for 35 years.
35 years. The sun visor still had the
Registration.
for the license on it. And as I got to look into the old car, in the trunk, I had a 56 Pontiac back then I was driving, and I had put some new floor mats in that Pontiac, and the old floor mats and the boxes were still in the trunk of this car.
Wow.
I don't think anything had
ever
hardly
been taken
changed
out
on
of
this
it, yeah.
car. The only thing I can know for sure might have been missing was the front bumper. The front bumper wasn't on the car because it had a one-piece front bumper. That was unusual because they were only in California cars had one-piece front bumpers.
Huh.
That's a funny thing, California. Well, California, all cars had to have one piece. They couldn't have 3-piece bumpers. And anyways, they had a one-piece bumper on it. I'd got somewhere and put on the car. And anyways, it was gone. And the best I can tell, maybe the gas tank was gone off the car, because I can't believe it had a gas tank, because I did have the gas straps. The straps were here, but the tank wasn't here. And so anyways, I bought a new tank and put in. They got a new gas tank and got that all done. But
So tell us, what all do you have left to do to the car to get her up and running?
okay, well, I've got a wiring harness ordered for the engine, and when it gets there, it should be here within a couple of weeks. Been ordered for, she told me it'd be 9 weeks before I get it. I get that on the engine, I can actually start the engine in and get it running. Mm-hmm. And then after I get that engine running, I'm going to order a wiring harness for the car and wire the car and try to get all the lights and everything hooked up here. And I'm probably going to have to change the steering wheel in it, put a different kind of wheel in it. The steering wheel in it's out of that 99 Chevrolet pickup truck, but it just looks like it'd be too big a mess to try to. It's a shame because I got it in there, it worked fine, but the electric part, if you look, you can go look at that thing, it must have 70 wires running up that steering column, and trying to figure what to do with all of them is going to be a nightmare. On the body, this car wasn't rusted out very bad. This car was undercoated, really had a heavy undercoating on it. Boy, I scraped on this for months, scraping the undercoating off of it, but on this front end up here, the only thing I did a patch panel on was right here, this little place right here. I did a patch panel, and over on the other side there was some rust over there, but the rest of the floor in this car is all original. There was no holes rusted in it, any part there. It was all good there. The rest of that was all good, but there was only rust on the inside here. Now, the body, of course, I replaced all the rocker panels on it. The rocker panels have been replaced. The outer ones are. The inner ones were not. They had a few holes in them. I patched them myself. And this back quarter panel had been replaced right here, down here low. I bought a new quarter panel for it. That had been replaced. And the trunk thing back there on the trunk This was replaced. This piece here, part of about half of it was replaced because it was rotting over there. It does have a new plate here. That's new there. And on the other side over here, I replaced just part of the front of the quarter panel. This was replaced up the rocker panel here. New piece put in there. That had been damaged before I ever bought the car. So, anyways, I will tell you one little funny story about it. When I got it back here, that driver's door over there had a bullet hole, and it had a bullet hole in the side of the door. You could tell from the inside of the door it had a place in there, and I kept looking at that, and I tried to figure that out. Why I said that bullet hole wasn't in that car when I got rid of it. I mean, unless it happened before I got the car, because it was 10 years old when I got it, and so I got to thinking about that, and I went and got the vacuum cleaner and cleaned the inside of the vacuum cleaner all out, and took and put his doors and vacuumed that door and this door completely out. I got everything vacuumed out. I was looking for that bullet, and somebody had bondoed over it, and I didn't know why, but anyways, when I got all done and emptied the vacuum cleaner, there was a 1953 penny in there and a 1957 dime. It had been a silver dime. It was in that vacuum cleaner. So I still got them at the house. I put them in a special little thing and saving them. I often wondered about that. I said, was that guy down there on the assembly line going through there throwing pennies in them doors to make rattles to make people mad?
He might have. I don't know. That's funny.
Know, but that was funny about that penny being in that door. So.
Did you ever find the bullet?
No, the bullet wasn't in there. The bullet wasn't in there. I never did find the bullet. I don't know where it was at or how it got in there. I don't know if that happened before I had the car. It must have happened before I had the car, I guess. So it had 10 years old, so it was, ain't no telling. I don't know where it came from or who had the car before I did. I don't know.
Did you tell them about the door handle?
Oh yeah, the door handle. Let me tell you, some of these people here working on 53, 54 Chevys, the door handle here, this thing for the door handle here, this had the spring broke in it. And they don't reproduce this, so I couldn't find one, so I called my friend Charlie up there, because I knew he knew somebody had a 54 Chevy, and he said, "Will you look and see what that thing looks like, if he's got one?" I thought, well, maybe one bad on the front door. He went and looked. He said, well, the front doors were gone. But he said the back door, the four door, he said the rear door had one on it. So he took it off and sent it to me, and it fit this door just right. This little arm right here, I had to bend this just a little bit to make it fit in there just right. And it works just fine. Now, being I got one in there with a spring in it now. So somebody working on 53, 54 Chevys, apparently you can make some off of four doors, fit on two doors and different ones, so that ain't too hard. That'd be easier than trying to find one. Maybe you could find one like that.
Yeah,
I want to tell you one other thing about this car too. This car is a little bit of a rare car, because in 1953 they only made just a little over 14,000 of the 210 hardtops. Most of them were all Bel Airs. Now, they made a bunch of Bel Airs, but the two-door hardtops, there was only just 14,000 of them made. And in 54, they didn't make a 210 two-door hardtop. They only made two-door hardtops in Bel Airs. So this makes this car a little bit of a rare car.
I'd say so. 14,000 is not very many.
Not very many. No, it's not a whole lot. So.
And I bet there's not very many left.
No. Yeah, I'm on that 53, 54 Chevy thing, though. It astounds me how many they are out there. Of course, that's four doors and Bel Airs and 210s and 150s. There's a bunch of them out there, but I had no idea there's that many of them on the road still. There are people fixing up all the time. It's sitting on the 77 Chevelle frame, which was only 1 inch wheelbase different than the 53. It was 116 and the 53 to 115, which didn't make much difference. So the entire frame of this car is a 77 Chevelle with a GM 10-bolt rear end under it, and it's got I put a LS engine in it. I have a 99 Chevrolet pickup truck. It's got the 4L60E transmission in it, and I've remade all the mounts where the 53 body was ever at. It's got new mounts where every place that body was mounted. I put new mounts and got them all mounted up on there with grade 8 bolts, and and the under part of the car had been sandblasted. The whole car had been sandblasted, and the under part of the car I took out to a place that did a Line-X lining. It's an undercoating type with the color in it, and they took it there on a rotisserie on a trailer and put it on its side, and they did all this underneath this car, inside the front fenders and everywhere as it was under the car had this Line-X lining put on it, basically the same color as the outside of the car. And anyways, got this LS engine under it, and went all through the whole front end of the car. The front end's all been completely rebuilt, all new tie rod ends, new idler arms, new ball joints, new bushing, A-frame bushing, all the bushings are polygraph bushings, and all of that. And I got this, like I said, I got the LS engine in there. I made all the mounts for it, made the mounts off the 77 Chevy and part of the engine block, made all them, and got them out of there. It still got the original steering box in there from the 77 Chevy. Anyways, the LS engine, I do know, one thing people know this, I don't know if it's going to be a problem or not yet, is my oil pan on my engine. It hangs down a little bit more like out of a truck they came out of. I'm not sure I'll leave it like that or buy another pan for it. But anyways, that's basically all the stuff I've done to it under this car here, but everything's been rebuilt in it. The rear end in the car had a 255-to-1 ratio, positive traction rear end under it, but of course I couldn't use that with this overdrive transmission, so I took it out and bought a Detroit locker and a 342 ring and pinion and put in there, and all the bearings and axles and stuff in the rear end back there, and that's all been redone. And of course I'm not done with it yet. I still got to do some radiator ain't in, and cooling lines for the transmission. I've not got a cooler for that yet. I'm working on that, and I'm working on some other things here. I should have a wiring harness coming for the engine here just in a few days, and maybe I can get the engine started in, the wiring harness and the computer. So that's basically all the stuff under the car here that you're going to look at and see. But I probably took this hood off this car about 1964 or 65 when I started going to put a V8 engine in it. And I realized the other day, me and my daughter and son-in-law, we're going to put the hood back on there. And we got it back on there. You'll see the film on there about putting the hood back on the thing. But I realized later on, I said, that hood has never been on that car since 1964 or 65, actually on there right. So. Reproduction, and some of it is original GM parts that I brought back in the 1960s to replace it when I had the car and driving the car. I just got the grill back in there and all the car here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about this grill. This what they call fish plates, and this parking light lens, and these three teeth, and that parking lens, this fish plate, I bought back in the 60s. When I had this car, I was going to replace them, and them are all GM original. I got them back actually in the boxes they came in. Had GM boxes about falling apart. But this was reproduced. The top bar, the middle bar, and the lower bar, them were reproduced. I bought them from Chevy the 40s or one of them companies like that. And the headlight rims, these headlight rims are 54. They don't reproduce 53 headlight rims, so I went ahead and got the 54 headlight rims. And I bought one of them bowl nose to go on the hood. I didn't want to weld the hood together. And the bumper is a new bumper there. I got that from one Chevy 40s or one of the companies there. And the bumper guards are their original guards. They don't reproduce these. And I took them beat up ones up to a place in Lincoln, Arkansas, and they straightened them and re-chromed them and the back bumpers and quite a bit of other stuff on the car they did for me. They did a really fine job on it though. They really did good straightening that stuff out.
Thank y'all for watching our video today. I appreciate that. I hope you enjoyed this video about the unique story that my dad's car has, and show him some support. Drop us a comment and let us know what you think about all the work that he's done, and just remember to live in the sunshine.